Dear students, today we discuss about the sonnet of Milton on his 23rd birthday. John Milton is considered the most significant English writer after William Shakespeare. His epic Paradise Lost, his classic tragedy Samson Agonist, and pastoral elegy Lycidas are widely regarded as the greatest poems of their kind in English literature. He is also famous for his prose work. His sonnet on his 23rd birthday is an autobiographical sonnet. In this sonnet, the poet writes about himself. In this sonnet, the poet calls time the subtle thief of youth. In the beginning, the poet says, time is the subtle thief of youth, which has stolen 23 years of my life. The poet calls time the subtle thief because time steals without awareness. It steals secretly. In this sonnet, the poet writes that he may not seem mature as some of his contemporaries, but he expresses a desire to use his talent properly, and he expresses his determination to use his talent under the supervision of God. The theme of Miltonic sonnet is not love theme. He writes about political, social, religious, and personal. His sonnet writing is also different in structure. Miltonic sonnets can be divided into two parts, octave part and sestet part. In octave part, the poet introduces the idea, develops the idea, and in the sestet part, the poet concludes the idea. So, in the sonnet on his 23rd birthday, in the beginning, the poet introduces us about the theme of the sonnet. The poet says, how soon hath time, the subtle thief of youth, stolen on his wings my 23 years. Perhaps my semblance might deceive the truth. Inward ripeness less appear. So in this way, the poet introduces us and develops the theme in the very beginning. In the first two lines of the poem, the poet introduces and creates a metaphor of time as a bird flying away with Milton's youth. Time has taken away the youth of Milton and he became a mature man, but he didn't get the knowledge of his maturity. In the next lines, the poet expresses the sense of how quickly time passes. Time passes very soon, and the poet writes, hasting days. Hasting days, the poet didn't get knowledge about the days which has passed because they have passed very soon, they have passed very quickly. In the next line, the poet uses a sensual metaphor to express that his time of life is late spring. Late spring, he got the knowledge of his maturity very late. And the poet also mentions that it has not shown any bud or blossom. No indication, the poet didn't get any indication of his maturity. In other words, we can say that the poet didn't get any promise of fruit or achievement in his life. So, in this way, the poet wants to say that he is not aware of his maturity, but in spite of having no knowledge, in spite of having less maturity, in spite of having less physical maturity, in the sestet part, the poet mentions that yet it be late or soon, less or slow, he is determined to use his talent properly. He is determined to use his talent under the supervision of God. The poet wants wants to work under the supervision of God. The poet mentions in the sonnet that whatever work is being assigned to him by the taskmaster, who is the taskmaster in the poem? God is the taskmaster in the poem. So the poet says that whatever God assign him to do, he is determined, he is fully determined to do the work under the supervision of God, and he will do his best so that he can serve God, so that he can fulfill the will of God, so that he can do the best service of God. In this way, we can say that this sonnet is an autobiographical sonnet in which the poet expresses his determination to serve God. He used metaphor after metaphor to mention whatever is in the mind of the poet. The sonnet is a personal sonnet, we can say, and it is about the poet himself. So, the sonnet is a very beautiful creation of the great poet